This is going to be a good one.
Alright, you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shay, for all of you who do not know. If you are new here, do not forget to like and subscribe. So, based on the title, today's topic is, what is church racing? Okay, many people are like, girl, what is that? Many people are like, I don't know what it could be. But church racing is something that my husband and I have both experienced. And we're going to talk about it, okay? Again, my name is Shay. I am a black woman, okay? I grew up on the east side of Buffalo, New York. I am a black woman. I'm proud to be a black woman. I don't try to change who I am. That's that.
I am husband.
Mm-hmm.
I am a white male.
Yes, you are.
Not black, not Puerto Rican, none of the above. White. I don't try to act any other way than what I am. I was raised in the country. I rode dirt bikes and four-wheelers and did all the country boy stuff. So we couldn't be any more different in the way we were brought up.
Opposite.
And church racing is when we go into the opposite. There's never a church that we've ever experienced that has a very big mixture of race.
Yeah.
Like, ever. And it's extremely rare to find a white male and a black woman versus our counterpart.
Mm-hmm.
So, go ahead. You want to take the rest?
Okay, so church racing is literally the difference between black church and white church.
Yep.
But not only black church and white church, we're going to talk black people and white people, okay? Because I've experienced black people my whole entire life. I've experienced white people on an intimate level for the last, 8 years. Being married to my husband. Okay, holidays, birthdays, everything. So we're going to discuss the difference. And this is really like a race video because, again, like, we've realized that a lot of white people may be afraid of black people because they don't know black people. And black people may be afraid or they may judge white people because they have not encountered white people for themselves. Except for in the news when you're hearing about certain stuff, or they've never really encountered another race at such close proximity. Make sense? Okay, so what do you?
Okay, so we just went to church this weekend, and it was an all-white church, and you looked around. What were your first thoughts? You want to know what your first thought is? I'll tell you what it was.
What was it?
Because you leaned over and asked me, am I the only black person here? That was your first thought.
I did.
I know you did.
I was like, but I didn't want to be the one to look around like, oh my gosh, I'm the only black person. So I'm like,
she has the white guy look around.
See if I'm the only black person here. I did. I was like, and guess what he did? He turned around. He said, yep, you the only black person.
Sure did.
Yeah, so that was pretty. It didn't make me feel no type of way. Like, again, I'm not afraid of white people. I'm not intimidated nor threatened by white people. I'm not intimidated nor threatened by other people who don't look like me. In fact, I find it intriguing. You know what I like to do? I like to draw from.
Have you ever been treated differently in the church? In the white church?
No.
I think you've been treated better than I have. Honestly.
Yeah.
You don't think that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
They treat you better than they treat me.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
And I've also gone into black churches where I don't have to look around. It's real easy to tell I am the only white guy there. Very simple.
Yep.
So, and I have been treated differently.
You have. Do you feel like it was different in a good way or a bad way?
Half and half. it depends on what church we were in, how I was treated. Like, and we always, I don't care if we're in church, Walmart, Target, whatever store you want to name, we always are looked at.
Yeah, we get a lot of looks.
Always stared at.
It's never really any bad ones. We've had real questionable looks, but
but never real bad ones, because I'll lose it all real quick
no,
to
don't
defend
say
my wife. No, I am gonna say that, because I'm not that. My wife is the person who gets us through on the spiritual level, right?
Like
or
the
wrong.
prayers
Yes.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
She is absolutely our family's covering, and I'm not going to lie and pretend that I can quote Bible verses and all those things, because I can't. I'm not that guy. But I will lose it all for my wife and kids very quickly. Right or wrong?
Very quick. Very quick. Okay,
and I don't care what color you are.
So since we're talking race, right? Let me just talk about this, because a lot of people get this misconstrued. Like, oh, because she's with a white guy, she somehow hates black guys. Like, let me just clear the air. Like, when you see a woman and she's not with, if you see a black woman and she's not with a black man, that does not mean she looks down on black men. That's not that.
Actually,
okay, I've had that before.
Tried to help
someone
black men more than.
Hold on. Because some people get it misconstrued. They've judged me, and I know people who like will be like, "Oh, you're a bed wench," or whatever them people be saying. And my thing is, I have never ever been like, "Oh, I only date white men." It's not true. Love black men. My daddy is a black man. My brothers are black men. My family members, love all the men in my family, right? It's the women that's questionable.
Yeah.
It's them, okay? But black men, I love y'all. However, no black man pursued me the way that my husband pursued me. Okay? So that is why I married who I married. And, they tend to get that misconstrued. Like, oh, is something wrong? Like, no, it's not even that. Like, I wanted to be pursued by a black man, but I also knew that, like, when I, came into who God called me to be, I understand why I had to marry who I married, because I needed to understand that God loves everybody. We're all the same. We all cry. We all have emotion. It's some nut jobs that's black. It's some nut jobs that's white. It's some nut jobs that's Chinese. Mm-hmm. A nut job is a nut job.
Have you ever been treated differently by my family?
Never. Well, we've had our issues.
But
it was never like
race.
It was never race, like Shaniqua or like it was never nothing like racist.
Have I ever had issue with your family?
Yes. Let me tell you, my family, believe it or not, has displayed more racism than his family has ever experienced. Like, I've never experienced them be like, oh my gosh, she's black. Oh my God. Like, never. However, my husband will have to sit there and hear about white people and how white people is this and that and this and that and this and that with a baseball bat. And again, my family, you ain't never really came in contact with no white people for real. Like,
and it's up to me. I feel it as if it's up to me to answer a lot of the things that are said are just out of ignorance. You just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
So I do my best to try to fill in the blanks and be like, no, that's not true. That's not what happens, or that's not what's done, and try to be the example, to explain the situation.
Right, and
I don't ever take anything to heart.
Right.
Everybody takes everything to heart nowadays.
Yeah. And I do realize now that it took a very long time for my family to open up to him. Mm-hmm. And now that they have, now it's all jokes and all of this. And they can share I don't want to say racist joke, but like they can share a joke.
We poke at each other.
Yeah, without any offenses, It's all love.
Yeah.
And I feel like, again, when you're called to be a first, I'm called to be a first to break down a racial barrier in my family. I know that and I understand that because my family loves him. Mm-hmm. My grandfather, who grew up in all of the racist stuff, loves my husband. He don't call me and talk about the kids or anything without asking how my husband is doing. But like, you got anything to share?
So as far as your grandfather, I love your grandfather, and we have always tried to help everybody around us. I'm a white guy who has mentored young black men. We have gone into every type of church situation, and a lot of times on your end they treat you great, and then I have to prove what I am.
Yep.
Like, I have to prove I'm solid.
Yep, it's true.
I have to prove I'm all these.
It's true.
Like, they immediately go to the worst thought that I'm out here burning crosses.
Yep.
Like, and then once they get to know me and they're like, oh, wait a minute.
He's completely different.
Yeah, and 9 times out of 10, not all, because listen, I've been around white people where the N-word's thrown around vigorously. I've been around black people where, honky, cracker, blah, blah, blah was thrown out vigorously. We all, as people, we're all tribal. I mean, we started this. We all roamed in packs in order to survive. Yeah. And we've kept some of that in our DNA. So deep down, we're all tribal. But as far as, I'm not out here to hurt anybody. I don't want to, listen, I'm not here to judge you at all. And once you leave the judgment at the door, you find it a lot easier to deal with people.
And love people.
Yeah, and love people.
And love people for them, not
the color
what
of their
they look
skin.
like, or,
I wasn't raised that way.
Yeah.
I never was told anything. And now, mind you, this is growing up out in the country where you would think it is. Mm-hmm. And it is not. Listen, at the end of the day, all money spends the same. Regardless of who it comes from, all heirs breathe the same, regardless who it comes from. If you cut me, I bleed. If I cut somebody else, they bleed the same color as I do. There is no difference. Now, there is cultural difference, and we'll break down some of that stuff, and it's pretty funny. Yep. We'll get to some comical situations, but now we're touching on a little more of the seriousness. If you leave your judgments at the door and not judge everybody the same, I don't look at every black man and think immediately, you're a drug dealer, or you're going to rob me, or
you're
any
a criminal. Like how they do on TV, because that's what they do. Like,
because that's what they do.
Oh, clench your purse.
Yeah.
Like when you see a black guy.
And TV are all set up to pit us against each other.
Yep.
That's their job.
Yep.
And if you leave all of that at the door, not every white person's out here trying to lynch people. Mm-hmm. Like I've never thought about that once in my life, ever. So I think a lot of it is if you leave judgment behind and be open-minded, you will see yourself grow.
Absolutely.
It's not about the other person. It's about yourself. Mm-hmm. Growing as an individual. Mm-hmm. How can you call yourself a Christian but yet look side-eyed at another person next to you that's just a different color than you, mm-hmm. or eats different food than you, mm-hmm. or sees the world different from you? You should want to open up your mind and be able to see that, so you yourself can reflect on the experience and put it to use in your own life. Mm-hmm. I hate to say this, but the best advice and things I've ever heard came from crackheads. And if I would have just took it as, it's just a crackhead talking, you don't know what he's out here getting high.
Right.
I wouldn't have, heard and learned some of the things that I had learned throughout my life. Mm-hmm. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm a very well-versed person. Mm-hmm. I can get along with white in a room full of white. I can get a room full of black. I can get a mixed room. It doesn't matter. I can bring everybody together and just have one crazy party. And I know for a fact it's the same with you.
Mm-hmm. So wait, let's bring it back to church, because, again, you said you had to prove yourself at a black church, or Not even you, like he was never like, oh, I want to be in a position or a deacon or anything like that.
Now listen,
he just literally would come and sit with me, and they would literally be like, okay,
I want to.
How you gonna prove yourself?
And I want to add this in a lot. No, you wait. A lot of times it was because the other men wanted to have some kind of relationship with you, and that was one of the real reasons why I had an issue in one of the places.
Yeah, that's true.
Was every guy, and they were all lame. They were. Let's be honest. Let's keep it real. At least the people listening, they ain't around. And that was the truth. So then I come in, and
they like, who is you? Like, who are you? We've been trying to get at her for.
Yeah, and then what ends up happening is those same guys who were doing all that ended up chasing me around. So
trying to figure out why.
Yeah,
I would deal with you.
Right, and so
wait. Okay, so again, at a black church, you felt like you had to prove.
I didn't feel it was.
Yeah, you had to prove that you were worthy of me.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now in a white church, I actually took the pulpit in a white church.
Yep. Yes, you have.
Yeah. So when it comes to like church racing, I'd say it's 100%. The opposite of what you would think.
Yeah.
You would think that they would give me a hard time because I'm a black woman.
And I wasn't the guy standing up yelling hallelujah and praise the Lord and none any of that. That's not who I am. That's not me. And all those guys were. Mm-hmm. They were all the guys that would do all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. And I think that men of the church, this is off topic, but I'm just going to let it rip. Men in the church, it almost seems like they get in there and then all of a sudden they have to be soft. All of a sudden they tend to give off feminine vibes. They feel like they can't. There is nothing wrong with being a man in church. You don't have to be what the next person is. You can. I was just showing my wife something, and the man was out skinning an elk. It had his elbow deep in elk guts, and it wore a hat that said
"Child of God."
No, that was his tattoo. His hat said
"Christ is King."
Christ is King. There's nothing wrong with being. You can still be a man and be who you are, and still be in church.
Absolutely, 100%. And you know what? Another thing, like I hear a lot of women, single black women specifically. I hear black women say this all the time. They're like, oh, I'll just stay single until I get found or until I get a black man. What if God is calling you to break down a barrier in your family? I'm not saying go marry a white man or an Asian man. I'm saying marry who God sends that pursues you.
I guarantee you that your family looks at white people different because of me.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially your mother.
There are a whole lot of women out there, single white women. Oh, I'm not gonna, get married until
you wouldn't believe the things that were said to you about white men. You know what I'm talking about? The pink thing.
Oh, goodness gracious!
Just over minute details.
I had this friend at the time, and she was like, I'm not going to deal with a man, a white guy, because of the color of his penis. And I hate to be, like that right now, but we're all adults. And it's stuff like that. The stuff that will
block your blessing.
Yeah. The stuff that is so minute. And the stuff that is so irrelevant. So you mean to tell me you'd rather be mistreated or walked on? I don't care who's walking on you. You've closed yourself in, and now
put yourself in a box.
You've put yourself in a box to where you can't be found. So since then, I don't want to put this person's business out there.
But nobody.
Since then, you've become pregnant with someone's baby that will not marry you. You've, blocked yourself up in ways. If you would just allow God to send a man to pursue you. A lot of women like, oh, I want to be a wife. I want to get married. But Do you really? Because it sounds like you need to be healed from racism. Okay? Like, if you were Asian and you pursued me the way that you pursued me, I still would have married you. Everything except for Arab. I'm just gonna put it out
because
there.
Of the Muslim.
It's only because of the religion
difference.
and the spiritual difference. I could never I could never unequally yoke myself in that way. I was never gonna turn my back on my God. Okay? And that's the only thing that I would not have done. And it has nothing to do with the person. It has everything to do with the spiritual aspect of it. So
you need to love who it is that you love.
Yeah.
And in answering
allow yourself to be pursued, women. Allow yourself to be pursued. Have an open mind, because guess what? It's a whole lot of unsaved people that's being pursued by the same sexes, and they going with it. And you mean to tell me that these people are pursuing each other and they the same sex, and you have a problem with somebody that is a different color than you? That sounds ridiculous. Okay?
And men, love who it is you love. Don't allow somebody else's perception of you block what you're going to do with your life, because these are lifelong decisions that I married my wife for better, for worse, for life. There is nothing that will happen to her that will not happen to me first. I will die before she dies. I would, if my wife needed my heart to survive, I would easily, without a second thought, give it. Period. And so don't allow somebody's perception of you stop you from feeling that way for somebody else. I don't care what color the person is. That person could be, you could be a black man and she could be a very, very black woman. She could be a white woman, Chinese. Don't allow, because I'll tell you what, there's no better feel. When I lay my head on the pillow at night, there's no better feeling than bringing home a fresh kill for my wife and family to eat on, because I went out there and I was the man of the house for this family. Don't allow anybody to rob that from you, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. And my wife knows for a fact there is zero things, whether it be an argument, I'll have that argument with whoever it is before she will, right or wrong.
It's true.
I will. Listen, I told you before, I will lose it all for them real quick over the most minute thing. And I don't care what color they are, whoever it is, it doesn't matter to me. I will lose it real fast. And you need to have that feeling in your life, because as a man, there's nothing to live for if you don't have something to live for. You have to have a family and a wife in order, as you grow. And if you're a young man listening to this, you have to have a family in order to be really, truly be fulfilled. And I know what you're thinking now. Oh, I don't want to get married, oh, this or that. Listen, I was the same way, and there was nothing better. There was not a better choice I made. I want to kill my wife sometimes. Don't get me wrong. She aggravates me sometimes. That beauty that you're looking at comes with a price. Trust me. Marrying a beautiful woman costs a lot. And I'm not talking just monetarily. Okay? I'm really not. So, but there's no better feeling at the end of the day, and you will never feel fulfilled until you do these things. Because you can't be a baby father and feel that way, because you can't be a part-time, you can't. You're a part-time parent. You can't be a
part-time parent and feel fulfilled.
Right. And it doesn't, back to the subject, it doesn't matter what color the woman is, just as long as you are happy. Now, you might have to prove yourself, but okay, you could do that.
They've been doing that since the beginning of time.
You might have to stand tall.
Men have always had to, prove themselves to the family, to the father, most importantly.
Yep.
But at some point, you're going to have to prove, listen, as a man, you're going to have to prove yourself to God. Are you worthy of her?
Yep.
Can you afford her?
Yep.
Can you afford a family?
Yep. Yep.
Okay? Mentally, can you afford her?
God will always provide a way, one way or another, even if it's the way you don't want it to be. You might not want it to be a certain way, but guess what? If it is what it is, then take it. And back to the church thing, we have been in a lot of situations in a lot of churches. We went through a lot together. Yep. We paid the cost to be on this channel. Yeah. I mean, truly, if you guys only knew the things we went through, it is unbelievable. Most people would have cracked.
We wanted to crack.
We wanted to crack. We probably did crack.
We
just
did.
Didn't realize it.
No, I realized it.
At the end of the day, be open-minded in all situations. Don't close yourself in, because you're going to miss everything. And then as your head hits the pillow for the last time and you draw your last breath, you're going to look back and say, I wish I would have. Fill in the blank. I wish I would have experienced this. I wish I would have given this a chance. I wish I would have saw this. And have you ever had as much fun partying with white people?
What you mean?
White people party different, don't they?
Oh, white people party real different.
And it's fun, is it not?
Yeah, it's fun.
And the experience is, white people do a whole lot of crazy stuff.
They do.
And you've done a whole lot of crazy stuff that I don't think you would have ever have done. And is it the best time you've ever had?
Yeah.
It seemed scary at first, and you said, oh, this is some white people stuff. But have you not had the best time afterwards?
Yep.
Have you... I can't recall you ever being in a situation where you can look and go...
They be like, let's go skydiving. I'll be like, oh, no.
I woke up one morning, and I swear this just recently happened. I woke up one morning and said, hey, my brother's going skydiving. He wants us to go. Let's go do it.
And I'm like, yeah, no.
Oh, that's for white people.
You can go. I didn't say that. I'm like, you can go.
You
That's
let
not...
you say that. Why you find
Listen, I said, listen.
No, she said it.
I said, you can go. Because I'm not going.
But...
Okay?
Can you say...
We don't do that type of stuff.
But...
That might be what I said.
Have you ever seen me in a situation where I've ever showed any sort of racist tendencies towards anybody that coming towards me?
Nope.
I mentored young black men. Do you think that I steered them in any wrong way?
No.
Do you think I treated them the same way I treat our own sons?
Absolutely.
Do you...
Yep.
See, so what I'm the point I'm trying to make is, not all white people are what you think they are. Some of them are, yes. I'm not going to lie. I hate some white people. I can think of a good 10 off the top of my head I don't like.
Right.
So don't take the one white person at your job and put them in that box, because it turns out that might be your best friend. That might be your wife.
That was
might
me.
Be your husband. That was you, yes.
That was me.
So
my best friend is white.
You know, as you look around, and
she has held me down, and she is the most solid individual.
So let's talk. Let's go back to church real quick.
Okay.
Black people, church, food.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so black church and white church. Black church.
You do the black, I'll do the white.
Okay, black church.
Or I'll do the black,
you do the black.
You do the white.
Okay, who goes first?
I'll do the black first. Ready?
Okay.
Black churches, you will be there all day. All day. Plan on, if you are a football fan, plan on forgetting that you better keep it up with it on your phone, because you will not see a game.
Yeah, that's true.
Not even the 8 o'clock game. Okay, you might be lucky to roll home around 10. But what I will give them is that they feed you till you are ready to burst. You smell the food cooking. As you're sitting there in church, your stomach is growling. You're like, oh, Lord, please let him stop preaching. But he won't.
He won't.
He'll keep going and going and going.
That's true.
Go ahead.
That's true. And they're going to sell you some snacks.
Yeah.
In between.
Yep. And if you're lucky enough, there's a corner store across around the way, so you could quick sneak out, run over to the corner store, grab you some snacks, run back, and he's still going on the same topic.
Okay, so white church. White church, you can expect it to feel like a rock star atmosphere. Mm-hmm. That's for one. These new churches, like, it's like, oh my goodness, is this a concert? Because it's super dark.
Wait, it's
super lit up.
Wait, you first walk in the door. What do you see?
You first walk in. There's more than likely coffee.
Mm-hmm.
There's these amazing pamphlets and
you might get some donuts.
Pamphlets. You might get some donuts. You might get something real light and fluffy. Mm-hmm. But that's it. Yep. Okay? Service gonna be an hour.
Yep. On the
dot. And then you out.
Yep.
Yeah.
They give you that coffee so that you know that it's time to hurry up and leave.
As soon as you start feeling a little sleepy, it's time to get up and go.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's church racing, the difference. And
now we're back on church racing.
Yeah, now we're back on church racing. And the difference.
So,
and it's good to be well versed. Like,
you got coffee, some real dope pamphlets, some donuts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's when we first walk in. I got food, long-windedness. Okay.
It's hot in there too.
Yeah.
It's probably hot. You'd be lucky if it's some air conditioning at that
lucky.
church.
But in the white church, will there be air conditioning?
Oh, what else? In the black church, you gonna be entertained.
Wait a minute. But you're not letting me get there. You're cutting it off.
Okay.
White church, is there going to be air conditioning?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Blasted.
Freezing cold.
Yep.
That's so you don't overstay your welcome. Okay? You're cold, so you're going to try to get out.
Right.
You could be dead of winter. It's freezing in there with the air conditioning on, so you could go outside and it feels warm. Okay. So when in black church, you gonna get entertained. You're gonna
307.
Oh, okay. Well, we could come back.
So in the black church, you're gonna be entertained. They're gonna be shouting, jumping, screaming. It's
rolling
gonna be
around.
Listen, we done seen a little bit of everything at these black churches. Okay. And that's what makes us us. Like, we gonna be us. We gonna praise God with expression. Some people be faking, but other people are dead serious. Okay. And in the white church, it's dead silent. After the music go off, it's dead silent. You be lucky if you hear a cough or anything at that point. When the pastor is preaching in a white church, it's straight up silence. In a black church, you might get a tissue box thrown at you.
Well,
listen,
hallelujah. There's none of that
shut
going
up.
on.
Listen. They're screaming. You better preach. There's some
most,
shouting going on.
The most you might get out of a white church is somebody raises their hands. That's about it.
If that's rare.
Yep.
You might get a clap.
Yep, maybe.
If that, but beyond that, listen. Start looking at people beyond race, okay? Yeah. And do not be so closed-minded that you miss your blessing. Because, again, God caused people to bless you. And you don't ever want to miss your blessing.
Yeah.
Messing around being mean and racist, okay? That's dead. That is a thing of the past. We need to move forward and break down these racial barriers. Because, yes, I'm black, he's white, Chinese, whatever. But we still have to coexist. Okay, so I love you guys. Talk to you guys soon. I hope that this video helped you in some sort of way. I hope that something was said or done to
make you laugh,
persuade you, make you laugh. Something was said or done to persuade you into not being that person. Okay, because again, God's gonna check. He gonna G-check you one day in eternity. How did you treat people that didn't look like you? And then you don't want to get that big old F. Okay, for a fail.
Yeah.
He said, love your neighbor as yourself. He didn't say,
love your black neighbor. Or
love your black neighbor. Exactly. He said, love your neighbor. So it's a whole lot of neighbors going on, and we need to love them. All right. I love you guys. Talk to you guys soon. Do not forget, you can email me at speakhervoice2too@gmail.com. God bless you guys. Chill. Oh my gosh. Why you gotta be so hood? Why you gotta be so...
Because I had to